Hey all, and welcome back to Fuzzy Dirty Gaming and part 2 of the Zero to Hero Tornado Shot playthrough. Before we jump into the game and go through my plans for gear, I thought I'd very quickly go through the Atlas tree I want to get to be able to farm some currency. Now it is going to mean pushing into sort of mid-tier yellow maps, so we might need to rely on Kirak and a bit of luck for drops to get this amount of completion, but this is kind of what I need to really start earning some decent currency to upgrade the gear. And it is a very, very simple tree. It's taking the essence nodes first, beelining through the Kirak nodes down to this Kirak here, getting all of the major essence nodes, pathing through the remnant of corruption, because they're now 45 for divine, going and picking up crystal lattice, and then picking up all of the gateways here. And then lastly, we're going to go and pick up 7th gate. This is the tree that's going to allow us to basically just farm our scoured white maps, put essence on the map device for 2C, and hopefully earn a ton of currency. So with that tree out of the way, let's jump into the game. So the first thing we've done is introduce a timer. What I was going to do is just use /play to work out how long I've been playing, but then it means I can't really take breaks and talk to you guys about what I'm looking to do and stuff like that, and I have to do it after I've done all the footage, and it makes it feel a bit bad for me and not as natural. The timer doesn't matter. This is just really for my own personal records. It doesn't matter how quick you are or how long you take. This is more going through the process of how to gear up a character. So when we left off, I'd spent around, so I think I had 85C in my stash and I've now got 38. So I spent, about 47 chaos, or exactly 47 chaos, on some gear. So at the moment we're sitting on a fairly decent bow for this stage, our early white maps, a very, very bad helmet from the campaign, the worst 6-link that was on trade, but it was the only one I could afford, the amulet from your Act 3 reward or Act 2 reward, I forget what act this is in, a ring I bought for 5C, a taming, a pair of gloves that I found on the ground that are trash, prison weave, just some damage, some boots I bought, and an absolutely junk quiver. So with this currency we've got, I need to make firstly a decision as to whether I want to plow through on this gear or I want to go for gear that I would want when I go crit. So we can maybe look at some things. Quiver, I don't really want to touch it, even though this quiver is absolute garbage. I don't necessarily want to touch it because A, it gives me resistances that I don't have, and B, I'm going to want a quiver with some crit multi that at the moment does nothing for me. The amulet we're going to go here is truth, but we're going to need some strength and intelligence on other items before we go there. So they're kind of the problems we've got to solve really in this episode is attributes, get the life up, and get some levels. Once I get to level 80, I think I'll be able to switch to crit and it will be better than precise technique. Then I can start replacing the gear with some better items. So two things we can definitely address before we carry on are going to be the gloves and the helmet. The helmet for sure, because it just has 22% fire resistance on it and nothing else. So let's start the timer, and the first thing we're going to do is go and buy a helmet. It's whether you can find one that's listed any time. So this one looks pretty good for 7C, to be fair. So let's whisper this guy. And he's literally just put it up, so I'd hope that he's there. He is. Okay, cool. So that's got us that helmet, which solves a few of our problems. I think my ballistas are in there, so we're just going to go and link this up. He says as he wastes all his fusions trying to get a 4-link. There we go. And then we need 1 red, which should be fairly easy to do, I would think. There we go. Okay, cool. So that gives us some more life and some more resistances. The helmet is trash. The amulet is trash. But the amulet, I want a Hiris. So I don't want to go buying an amulet and then immediately replacing it. We definitely don't want to keep that. So let's have a look at our resistances. We are now way over on cold. Need some fire. And then we're kind of good to go. So now we have 2.2k life, which for early tier maps is fine. And we have accuracy of 2.7k. So that's absolutely fine as well. So now I'm just going to plow through some maps. And then get as far as I can in my progression. At this stage, I don't need anything else. And like I say, I want to go crit before I buy most of my gear. So let's just go through and pick out all of the maps we need completion on that we have in our stash. Just those. Just make sure they're actually all runnable. These two need currency on them. And then we'll just double check that Kirak hasn't reset his shop, which he hasn't yet. And I think we have all of these. I definitely remember seeing a core map somewhere. Yeah, here it is, because I remember saying I didn't want to run it for the showcase last time. So let's go and complete some more maps. So it's just going to be some highlights in the background of the day's play, essentially. So for my white maps, I'm just doing the magic minimum required to get that Atlas completion. For yellow maps, they need to be rare. And then red maps, which are obviously not pushing into yet, will corrupt them for completion. But I'm not too bothered about that far on at the moment. So for now, it's just using Kirak to get as many maps as we can, using his missions to reset the inventory, and using the vendors to turn Orbs of Fusions into Orbs of Chance to buy maps. This is something I could, if I wanted to, go on to trade to buy the Chancellors, but I'd rather try and do as much naturally as I can. Luckily, this league, a lot of the horrible maps are early tier, like Forkin River is a pretty horrible map to run. The boss is also an absolute pain in the bum. But when you only have to do it on like whatever this is, tier 2, tier 3, it's nice and simple, especially when you're doing a build that isn't at the very beginning of the league. I get lost here. For some reason, the exit is different to the entrance, and it took me ages to realise. And I was like, oh, there's the door. We'll go in that way. Lab, again, is a map I really don't enjoy doing. It takes quite a long time because you've got your 4 different sections to do. The boss can also be a pain. So I'm quite glad, again, that this is a lower tier map. So we're now starting to progress through the Kirak wheel. And then we're just going to carry on with that Atlas progress. We'll go through the tree at the end of the video. This is where we drop some Ralakesh boots just off a random pack of mobs, which is very nice. Never had them drop before. Uncorrupted, they're sort of 70 to 80C. So a bit of a bargain. And then in this Kirak mission, which was a div card mission, we do end up in a little while dropping a full stack of Xerxes cards. Again, I've not had that drop before. Wasn't sure how much it's worth. We'll price check the amulet in a moment. But again, it's just something that's nice that can add to the currency if we can sell the item. So there's a stack of div cards. Very, very handy. So I think I've got the footage trading those div cards in and then price checking it. In terms of the tree, we've now got the 3 main essence nodes. We've just got one more to grab along with the gateways. We did have a Deli Orb drop in that map as well, but probably going to need a few before we start selling them. And then you'll see from price checking the Xerxes, it's apparently around 50 to 60C. I've currently got it listed at 40 and it's still not sold, so I don't actually know if people are using it at all. This was a whisper to sell my Ralakesh boots, so this puts me up to almost 100C, which is really nice because it means that is a ton of essence that we can put on the map using the device. It wasn't needed, it's just nice. We had enough chaos to be able to earn some money from essences anyway. You can see from the Kirak missions, you also got an Untainted Paradise, which is very nice for just quick XP. It doesn't do anything for my Atlas completion, so I was umming and ahhing about whether I take it or whether I do an uncompleted yellow map. But the fact that in this map we end up getting a level and a half and we're already level 80, I think is pretty nice. I think it's always something that you would do. Again, I get lost on this map, kill or think I kill the bosses, and the Devourer just doesn't spawn, and I have to run around the boss arena for a little while to get him to spawn, which we'll see in a moment. This is where I get confused. Couldn't see him anywhere, and then he suddenly pops up. So that map was a nice chunk of XP. Ended up having to push into yellow tier maps to get all the essence nodes I wanted. You don't normally have to do this if 7th gate isn't needed. So if essence was naturally on the map device, we can save about 13 or 14 points from the tree. So you don't need to push to sort of mid to late tier yellow maps. But because of the fact I needed over 50 Atlas points, you're really going to have to start pushing into, I'd say, tier 8, tier 9 maps minimum, unless you get super lucky and complete all of your tiers. And then the channel map was the last map I needed to do to get my node to unlock my final essence tree that I want. So we'll go through all the gear, progress, what I plan to do, things like that. I just wanted to show the highlights of, well, I say highlights, wanted to show you examples of the maps that I've run. And as you can see from the timer, it was about 8 hours and 20 minutes to get to this stage. that seems like a good place to call it for this episode. I have got map completion of 52, which has allowed me to unlock all of the essences, all of the gateways, and then 7th gate as well. That's exactly what I wanted to do. We just got there. We ended up having to do some T9 maps that I really didn't want to do at this stage because our character is still really bad. But rather than grind lower maps to hope to get those odd ones that we're missing, Kirak was being stingy and just not giving me missions at all. So what we'll do now is I'll just go and showcase a very quick essence map to what I'm going to be doing. That's going to be the majority of the early part of the next video, because what we want to do is really push on, switch to crit, and get some decent gear. So the character at the moment I'll just run through, just in case there's people don't have POB or don't want to go into the POB. We have a thicket bow that I bought for less than 10 chaos. I think it was 8C, which is elemental DPS of 700. That's basically it. That's all it provides. I upgraded my helmet, but again, it's just a life resistance helmet. I think this was 10C. It is a bit difficult buying stuff like this because it's not really worth a lot of currency to sell this stuff. So a lot of people just aren't doing it. But I did manage to stand myself a half decent helmet. I had this amulet drop from Syndicate. It's not very good, but it was better than what I had. It's just attributes, projectile speed, and projectile damage. I had a slight upgrade to the quiver. And when I say slight, I mean slight. It's got a tiny bit more lightning damage to attacks, and it allowed me to craft life. The ring is the one I bought in the last video for 5C, which is just some resistances and non-channeling skills. It's not even a high non-channeling skills. It's -4, but it does something. We've got a taming ring that I picked up again in the last video for 20C. My gloves are still my dreadful gloves, but at least I got some life and resistances on them. We're still rocking prison weave just to get some damage. At this stage, there's definitely better options, but because we've now unlocked the essence nodes, we can actually go to crit in the next few levels. I don't want to upgrade the belt to then upgrade it again a few hours later and waste some currency, because every 2C that I waste is basically 2 essences. And then the boots are the same we bought in the last video, movement speed and resistances. In terms of drops this episode, we had the Ralakesh boots. We had a full stack of Lightning Coil cards, which unfortunately at this stage of the league, Lightning Coil on its own, not 6 linked, is worth nothing. And we also had a full stack of Xerxes Heart cards drop, but mine is the cheapest and I've not had any whispers whatsoever. So I don't know if they're even used in any builds, but we'll keep lowering it until we get a sale. In terms of currency, sitting at 97 chaos, which is nice because that's a lot of essences and that's all I really care about at the moment. So before we move on, I'll just go through the character, the skill links, and the tree. So the character is level 83, not too far away from pinging 84, which we'll comfortably get to with the essences. If we go to my links, I have in my gloves, Mana Forged Arrows, Frenzy, and Life Tap. This is just to get Frenzy charges. In the bow, we've got Life Tap, Sniper's Mark, Mark on Hit. Got level 1 precision just to help with my accuracy because it was starting to get close to my life. In the helmet, we've got added cold, faster attacks, artillery ballista, LE damage with attacks. These are not optimal. You definitely should have focused ballista in somewhere, but I'm going to rejig them soon anyway. And at this stage, on these tier maps, we don't really need to make sure that we're perfect. In the boots, we have a flame dash and movement. Then we've got haste and grace. If you're struggling for damage, you could swap haste for anger. And then the main 6 link is Tornado Shot, GMP, Added Cold, Trinity, Mirage Archer, and then Inspiration. This could be LE damage with attacks. There's loads of different gem links you could go. But again, when we go crit, we're going to have to rejig the gems and the colors anyway. So I don't want to have to do that twice. In terms of the tree, there is one item I forgot that I purchased, which is a Lionized Fool, which at this stage of the league is 10C. I have basically gone as if I was crit. So I could probably drop Precise Technique now and it would be about the same. But I want to wait until I've got some charms. So we'll do that once we farm some essences. So as you can see, I've taken these crit nodes here, here, and here, which do nothing at the moment, but it just means I don't have to do more respecking. What I didn't want to do was add nodes, for example, like these LE damage nodes here, maybe some movement speed, and then have to drop them when I go crit because I don't have many regrets. So I'd have to buy them with Chaos Orbs. And every 2 Chaos that I waste on something is basically essences that will make me currency. So this is kind of where we've gone with the tree, obviously picking up the extra 2 projectiles as well. but it is kind of a, for me anyway, a bog standard bow tree for this sort of skill. So that covers off the character level, the gem links, and the skill tree. So we'll go in, we'll do a quick showcase of what I'm going to be doing. Then we'll leave the video there. POB will be in the video description. At the beginning of the next episode, I'll go over kind of what my goal is for Atlas tree, currency, gear progression, and things like that. But if people wanted to get ahead of me and they're doing the same sort of thing, it would be to get a bow with crit chance. So it's probably going to be a spine or ivory bow. So similar LED DPS, but with crit chance. Then we need a quiver with big crit multi, life, damage of bows as much as we can stack into it. Get this replaced probably with the Stygian Vise and a jewel that gives some sort of damage. Get the garbage gloves replaced. Get more attributes into the build to then be able to run Hiri's Amulet. And then just keep leveling up and obviously switch off Precise Technique. Put on my Diamond Flask, and then we're probably going to need to take these mana nodes here, because I don't think we'll have the reservation to run a level 30 precision with our 2 auras. And that's kind of it. That's the rough idea I have. If I end up with enough currency, we'll then go for a 6-link Hiris, because I'm just going to go more glass cannon in this run rather than go for lightning core for defenses. So just grab a map that's got a nice layout for essences. Glacier is really good. Not bothered about killing the boss, not bothered about anything other than essences. So we'll go in, and then we will put essence on the map device, and we'll go. I'm at the moment not going to be corrupting any essences because I don't have many remnants of corruption. They're also quite valuable. They're about 4 to 5 chaos each. So if you get a few bricked in a row, you do lose a bit of currency. So I'm going to be more picky than I normally would about what essences I corrupt. So we'll run through. Which does make it a bit easier because it means we can just hit the essences and we don't need to worry about anything else. We should easily have enough DPS to deal with most of them. So we've got some Shrieking Hatreds there. And essences, you don't have to level up to Deafening. You can sell them in Shrieking if you want. We've got 4 lots there, which is nice. So even though it seems disappointing to get one of these, that is 5C. And then we have Shrieking Loathing. Amazing, because Shrieking and Deafening essences of Loathing are big money. And that's kind of it. There won't be any more essences in this map because we have already got 4. I don't think you can get 5 without compasses. So that's kind of it. So we'll get out. We'll go into another quick map and then we will wrap up the video. Now I'm going to do every single map I have because I'm obviously not going to sustain just doing half of a map. So we're just going to keep going until we run out of white maps, and then we'll decide whether we want to push progression or whether we maybe buy some white maps. Depends how much you have to pay for them. I don't know if I remembered to put essence on. We'll find out. We didn't. We forgot to put essences on, but it's no biggie because we get them guaranteed anyway. So we'll just go and take this one. And then we'll actually go out and remember to put it on the map device. I don't know why it didn't remember it. It normally does. I'll just double check when I put this map in that it hasn't done it, but it normally says in the corner if you have essences in the map. So again, we'll take our Glacier map. Go in. No, it definitely didn't put it on. I think it's because the first one was free. So when you have to start paying it, it turns it off. So we'll go in, pay our 2C. And for this map, it's quite a nice one. Most of the time, the majority of the essences are in this beginning section. Because it's the only open section. So unfortunately, we've got Wailing, which is absolute garbage. So we'll take that. Got a map, which is nice. Another Wailing. This isn't treating us very well. Probably not even going to get our money back here. So the last one is going to be inside. So we'll go in. Hopefully it's not at the boss. And even though these are low tier maps, you will level up still. Oh, I forgot to put my timer on. I'll adjust that before we close out the video. And we ended up with, yeah, pretty garbage essences. Shrieking Essence and Misery are not very good. But I didn't want to corrupt it on the off chance it goes to the special essences, because if it doesn't, that's 5C. And the special essences, although worth money, I'd rather wait until I get like big chances to get tons of Deafening essences before I use my Remnants of Corruption. So that is it for that. So we'll just stop the timer and just add, I mean, we won't very long. We'll just add 3 minutes onto it. And then at least I know where I'm starting on the next video. Okay, so that's got my time to probably what it should be. That is me in the Essence prison for the next couple of hours at least. Try and get 4 to 5 divines worth of currency, and then we can go make some real upgrades, get Uber Lab done, and literally just push to red map completion. There's no reason we can't do that. I only really need the first 2 void stones to start earning some proper currency, but getting ahead of myself, that's going to come in the later videos. Thank you very much for watching. Take care, and see you in the next one.